Hi guys, welcome to You Don't Hate. Now last week we had a little bit of a contest there worth giving away Halloween 3 to the first subscriber that liked the video, commented on the video, and so forth.
Right.
Terrence, tell the audience who won Halloween 3.
We got our big winner, drum roll please. Chris Pettis. He was a big commenter on the Halloween season of the 3 comment section.
Season of the 3, yes.
Season of the witch comment section, and because of that, we felt that Chris was going to be our winner. So Chris, we would make sure we get this sent out to you, and congratulations.
Yeah, first winner of any contest from the goods.
Exactly. So I was so excited about it. We got a lot more activity in our comment section this week.
Well, this week, You Don't Hate.
The Fly 2, like father, like son.
Okay, so today's movie that you don't hate is The Fly 2.
Right.
Sequel to the 1986 The Fly starring Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis.
Yeah.
This one actually is filmed 3 years later, 1989, and it takes place only months after the original ended.
Okay.
I thought it was a pretty great movie. It made $39 million. Not too bad, right? So
For the time frame, and the budget was pretty small. So.
Yeah, exactly. For this particular movie, we're going to, for those of you that have not seen You Don't Hate, we're going to break it down into 5 categories, okay? We're going to break it down into plot, acting, directing, special effects, and for this special Halloween edition is kill scenes.
Month of kill scenes.
Month of kill scenes. We did Elm Street 2 and Halloween 3 and now kill scenes in The Fly 2.
All right.
So it's going to be freaking awesome. Terrence, tell the viewers the plot of The Fly 2.
So the plot of this film, which the way the first one ended, you would feel like, this is ridiculous. How are they going to continue that movie? But just as it ended in the first movie, Gina Davis's character, she dies while giving birth to their baby. So this one picks up where they have the child. This organization has a child, and they want to be able to continue the work that he did with his transportation machine, as well as kind of keep the child under observation because he has the fly genes inside of him. So they watch his progress. He has like this reverse Benjamin Button thing where he's growing up at an advanced, or that's what it is. He's growing up at this advanced rate, but he's also very intelligent. He would figure because of Jeff Goldblum's character, he was like super smart. He has those smarts, but because I guess the fly mutated him, he's just growing, and he's become almost a grown man at 5 years old.
Yeah.
But while he's doing that, he realizes that he's actually going to die because of his advanced aging, that he wants to see if he can cure himself of the mutation from the fly and also kind of save his life. He meets a hot girl. That starts everything in every movie. Gets in trouble. Gets him in trouble in this movie. And also, too, it leads him down to becoming what his father was. So I guess we'll stop where the plot is.
Also, they do. Well, do you like it?
Did I like the plot? Yeah, I mean, because I thought it was kind of stupid when they announced a sequel to that movie. I was like, this is a sequel to that movie?
Well, the way they... I'll tell you that in a minute.
I think that, but the way they set it up, it's like, okay, it's pretty... I could see an evil organization. One, if somebody says, I developed a teleporter, I don't care if Hitler invented the teleporter. People are gonna be like, oh, we're gonna figure out how Hitler did this, and they're gonna keep everything that he did. And they, Jeff Goldblum's character, Brundle, they kept what he did, and evil corporations do evil things, and they want to say, let's see if we can make this thing work, and we'll keep the kid too. So I definitely see how that would happen. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was a nice little twist to say that fly mutate, the fly genes were still in him, and kind of explain how the movie was going to fast forward him actually being something within that same time span, so they did it so shortly after the original film. So
right. Well, this actually he is birthed in a larva sac, and because of the shock, Gina Davis's character dies. Mm-hmm. Gina Davis was actually supposed to be in this, but she found out that she was going to be killed within the first few minutes of the scene.
Like, why?
And I'm not going to do it. So they hired somebody else. Anyway, so born like that, and they do take him in. Now, Bartok Industries, that's the corporation. They're the ones that actually funded Seth Brundle's whole research in the first place. So they already they
had money invested.
Yeah, they had money invested. But when all of this happens, they they take those pods with them and all of that. So in the beginning of the movie, the pods don't work.
Right.
They don't work.
Have a hard time trying to figure out how to get them to work.
Right. So a deleted scene actually says that Gina Davis's boyfriend, Stathis Barnes, is actually the one that took the disc from those things with all the research and all that stuff on it, which is why they didn't work in the first place.
Okay.
Once they do pretty much harness all of Martin Brundle's intelligence and all of his, like you said, his the gene and how fast he's freaking aging is ridiculous, but they're looking at his intellect, his maturity and all that stuff.
They're testing him throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like seeing that, like, the dude's super smart.
So they're using him not towards the end. Towards when he's already older, he's actually trying to carry on his father's work.
Yeah.
So for the most part, it was I thought it was really good.
I thought it was really good too.
It was pretty tragic too. There was now you watch The Fly 1 and the whole baboon scene when the baboon is inside out.
Yeah,
that was pretty awful.
They kind of do another with the
dog, but that was really bad. It was just I just didn't think it was anything
Well, you'd already seen it.
That. Yeah, so I don't. It's like I just didn't want to do that.
Rehashing the same stuff.
That whole scene was very controversial, and to be honest with you, that it caused a lot of people to be outraged
because people don't like monkeys. They like dogs.
Yeah.
Nobody likes monkeys. People like dogs.
So you like the plot.
I like the plot.
I like the plot. But before we give it, Terrence, give us the scoreboard now. And give it to like.
All right.
We're starting out pretty good. 1-0. All right, so acting.
Who's our stars in here?
Stars are Eric Stoltz. Who plays Martin Brundle.
Young Eric Stoltz.
After Mask. After Rocky Dennis, who was the Fly. All right. Daphne Zuniga, Princess Vespa from Spaceballs. Lee Richardson, who plays Bartok, the main guy there. Pretty good. He was okay. Returning from the first one, like I said before, Gina Davis decided not to come back because of her dying so soon. So Saffron Henderson replaced her as Veronica. Have you ever seen her last name? It's Quifey, but it looks like Queef. So that's crazy. Anyway, all right. So totally off topic. Just Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum only reprises the role as Seth Brundle through archive footage, cameo, uncredited cameo actually, and it's actually the footage is taken from a deleted scene from the original Fly.
Right.
That they integrated in this. So the only returning cast member is John Getz, who played Stathis from the first one, who was the ex-boyfriend of Gina Davis in part 1. He's the only one that comes back. For the most part, the acting was.
It was just That was the whole thing. Everybody just kind of gave an performance.
Yeah,
nobody had anything stand out.
No.
Everybody was just kind of like. It was kind of like the acting that you would see in a TV movie.
Lifetime.
Yeah, Lifetime movie acting is what it was. And it's like, I don't know if that's good or bad.
Now, don't get me wrong. Eric Stoltz did okay.
This movie was made on the horror nature and the sci-fi nature, and it was like, I don't know if the acting makes it or
so you're saying
it.
that. So you're saying that. Okay, so you got the plot. Now the only thing that's going to deliver it is not going to be the acting, but everything that
I think that's what
takes place around it.
Didn't really come into this movie to see acting.
Well,
but they didn't do a bad job. They just kind of did a mad job.
I'm gonna have to give it a hate. I hate to say it, but I'm gonna have to give it a hate.
Okay, so what are we basing this hate on?
I'm basing the hate only because of. I guess you know what? It's not even Eric Stoltz's fault because he is actually technically playing a 5-year-old. So I can't really.
Technically, he's playing a 5-year-old, an intelligent, a super smart 5-year-old. He's Doogie Howser.
And a lot of people are like, who's that?
I know. If you don't know who Doogie Howser is, but yet you've seen The Fly 2, there's something wrong with you.
So anyway, I thought that, like you said, there was a lot of meh and the performances like that. I got to give it a hate.
All right, so
What do you give it?
I guess I kind of have to agree with you based on that, because there was nothing I would say like, oh man, remember the acting that was in Fly 2? Remember how awesome
Oscar.
that was? Man, Eric Stoltz did such a great job. It was the best performance of his life. No, it wasn't.
That was
all you
Mask.
remember that? All
Best
you
performance
remember
was Mask.
is that he was in the sequel that nobody really cared for. So so I guess I would have to give it to Hate 2, not because they did anything that said,
Yeah, they didn't do anything bad, but they didn't do anything good.
They didn't do
either. It was
anything
just-
to actually add to the movie. So
And so the point goes to Hate. Tied 1-1. Now, a majority of the reason why the acting was bad brings us to our next category, directing.
all right.
Fly 2 was directed by Chris Wallace, who actually did the makeup in the Fly 1. His company also did the makeup for this particular theater.
Yeah.
For this particular show. But it was his directing that brought it all to life. I thought that he went too much, and you stated it pretty perfectly right there with the whole the horror of it.
Yeah.
I think he relied too much on gore. I thought he relied too much on the makeup part of it and transformations and all that, and it did not capture the same thing that Cronenberg did with really sympathizing to a certain degree for the character of Seth Brundle. Having to go through these changes, doesn't even know why he's going through these changes, and then finally accepting these changes. There's a lot of sympathy towards that, especially at the end when he's trying to really grasp his humanity by having him, Gina Davis, and the baby all in one to make one human. At the end, that was his plot to be human again. That was his, that was his last bit of hope of maintaining his humanity, and I thought Cronenberg captured it beautifully. This particular movie, I don't see Wallace doing any of that, and you really don't feel for Martin Brundle in it. You don't really feel for Daphne Zunica's character, Beth Gordon. You don't really feel for any of that. It's a bad guy, good guy type thing, where the villains get theirs at the end type.
I kind of differ on that, because
Okay, do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but but I almost feel different, like completely on the opposite side of that. They show him as a little boy. They show him dealing with all the doctors. They show him like basically you're only here because we find you interesting, and it's like you're cursed with the fact that you're gonna age, and you're gonna die because he's super smart. He starts to pick up on it as he gets older. Like, hey, my life is gonna end soon because I'm aging incredibly fast, and him wanting to do, I think I felt for him, and it was like he didn't have anything to do. He's brought into the world where he doesn't have his mom, doesn't have his dad. All he has is a legacy that's left to him by this whole horrible thing that happened, and all he can do, the one person he has as a father figure, is that scientist.
Okay, and that's a good point, but at the same time, I don't think Chris Wallace really elaborated on that so much. There was not enough feeling.
So you think because they still wanted to make a horror movie?
Yeah, it's like exactly. It's like you put him in the situation. Okay, cool. If you take a step back and you look at the character itself, then yeah, you feel it. But there was no execution from his part to really show you that he's feeling this way. You're saying it from your side, from your perception of it, but he did not show Eric Stoltz feeling that way. He did not show the young actors feeling that way. He just showed them as just living their lives like normal, when in reality, what the truth is. But
yeah, but his normal was, hey, take this test. Hey, you know what? Yesterday you used to be 4.
Yeah, why am I like 30?
Yeah, it must be 30.
He must be 30.
And I think that was more. I think that was more saying it was like, you're in such a no-win situation, and there's nothing we can do for you. I thought that set up a sense of dread and expectation of death.
There were some things though that he did do that was kind of the same, because he really tried to mimic the first one as much as he could. He didn't succeed as much as Cronenberg did, in my opinion. But the one thing that he did get right, more or less, was the sense of power that Martin Brundle was feeling as he was turning and stage to stage to stage, the power that he was feeling. Now, he didn't display the same kind of behavior that Seth Brundle did, because he was actually born with this gene. as where Seth Brundle was fused with the Fly, and his body. You were talking about always talking about body horror. His body horror was to a whole other freaking level. So I think he actually suffered more than Martin Brundle did, because Martin Brundle was just pretty much just evolving.
Right.
That's all he was doing. The other guy was just changing. He was changing, and all
it was almost like him going through puberty.
Yeah,
type deal.
Exactly. And so there was a lot of similarities in that part, which I applaud Chris Wallace for, because that was actually pretty cool. But he did not take that performance.
Okay, so where are we falling on this? Because I see a divide already. Where are we falling?
I'm falling on hate.
I gotta give it a like. I was okay with it, so that's gonna go to Aspen in the back. Our tiebreaker.
Well, I'm gonna have to agree with Terrence.
There you go, because Terrence is right.
Terrence is gold.
All of your points made sense. Do I agree with what you have to say? Because I am big on like exposition and.
I just think that if they would have continued on, because they got to show and I know we're harping on the first Fly as a comparison to it, they got to show more of him as a person than they really get to show in this one, because he is already that thing.
Right. But I'm saying that
and I think I'm saying that you're punishing this movie for not having him have more of a human side when he was never human to begin with.
But that's what I mean, and it's just not. He doesn't bring it out to actually give him. Well, I guess you're right. I see what you're saying, but
you're like praising the human humanity that he had in the first one, and it's like he doesn't have that humanity in this one, and he doesn't show it. But he never was that particular person. It doesn't matter. I got the point. It goes to like, thank you, Aspen. Moving on.
2-1. Aspen, you're grounded. All right, 2-1. The next one is special effects. Now, as I said before, Chris Wallace did the makeup on the first one. His company did the makeup on this one, and just did not skip a beat. I thought that the makeup on this thing was great. There were so many unfortunately from the dog, from the mutated dog to even the mutated Bartok at the end. Those makeups. The fly creature itself was great, and I just thought the way he executed, the way he executed a lot of that, it was just great. I thought the makeup was really, really good.
I love this era of horror movies. I think they've done the best makeup jobs ever
because they were practical. Yeah. Absolutely.
And
Tom Savini, baby. The best.
Bringing over that same style that they had in the original one, and I know we keep harping on the original one, but bringing over that style to this one, they continued it on. It gave you the same sense and feel from the other one, and it was gross just like the other one. I think they did a great job with it, with the effects.
All right. In all honesty, I didn't like the fly compared to the first one. I thought the fly creature in the first one looked more like a fly than this one. I thought that
fly just was more of a...
Too bad. Another thing was that the stages of Jeff Goldblum's transformation, as opposed to, compared to Eric Stoltz's stages of transformation, are much more grotesque and much more in detail than this one was, in all honesty.
Because this, like we were just talking about before, this one was more puberty. That one was more of, like you said, the fusion that was happening, and that happened more of an instantaneous, or not more of an instantaneous thing, at a faster rate. This one just kind of happened.
I think the evolution was at a faster rate than the other one. I thought the other one, there was some time, because remember, there's
him losing hands.
But there's a spot in the Fly one where like about a week or two has passed. And then he's already like at another whole other freaking level as far as his transformation.
But this one, you don't think that they broke it down like you said with the stages? Like this was one stage of him, and this was another stage of him, and you don't think that was a better pacing to do it? Like you got to follow it better.
I thought it was faster in the Fly 2 than it was in the other one. But like you said, it's because he already had the gene, so all he was doing was just turning into what he really is.
Yeah.
So, but either way, the special effects were freaking awesome. The makeup was awesome. Definitely give it a like.
All right,
Terrence,
like.
All right. 3-1.
3-1.
You've been wanting a freaking
blowout.
You've been wanting a blowout for a long time, and here we are, Halloween edition, and looks like you're gonna get it because the last one is the kill scene.
This is some gross kill scene.
Grossest, awesomest kill scene ever.
Gross kill scene.
You really look at the first one, and we're gonna make these comparisons a lot, but you look at the first one, and he didn't really kill anybody.
No, it just kind of gross.
He was the horror. He was the one that was going through all this stuff. And what was gross and like real cringing was Goldblum. This one, he actually does kill people, and some of the kill scenes the vomit drop on the face of the cop was absolutely disgusting, but awesome execution by Chris Wallace on that. The head crushed by the elevator. Man, that was some gruesome stuff. Make Walking Dead fans proud, right?
Keep cracking on Walking Dead fans.
Anyway, but yeah, it was pretty brutal. That was an insane scene. How they did it as far as practical effects was pretty freaking cool. I think they filled this thing up with the syrup and all that stuff, and then they just squashed it. It feels crazy. Anyway, and the not so gross but pretty painful was the breaking of the main villain in half. That was insane, man. He bends the dude flat out backwards and just breaks his back. Insane.
Once again, sometimes people who do horror films, I wonder what their actual real life is like. Because for you to be somebody who can think of something like that, what makes me question you as a person. But for a horror film, A+.
Yeah, great kill scenes. That I think that beats the first one when it comes to the execution of that.
All he did was
took the makeup and all that to another level with that too.
On the chin-up bar, and then he got gross. He was spitting on his food. He really didn't do much, and he tried to kill Gina Davis.
Yeah. Well, he did. He did melt the hand and the leg, and he was about to do his face. I wonder what that would have looked like if he would have done it. But well, actually, you do. You look at it in the Fly too, because he does it in the face. So there you go. But yeah, I give it a like.
I get a like.
There you go. 4-1 blowout.
I think, and what's funny is that as much as people didn't like this film when it first came out, because they were comparing it so much to the original one with Jeff Goldblum, obviously he couldn't come back, and Gina Davis decided she wanted to come back, and then seeing how they carried on the story, I don't think it was what people wanted at that particular time. I don't think it wasn't something that wasn't satisfying for people who were fans of the franchise. I just think it wasn't what people wanted from. It's kind of like how we think about the prequels, where we were happy to stay in that universe, but we didn't get what we wanted.
Right.
All right. And I think that's where they were like, oh yeah, we can go back to this and see what they do and how they kind of ramp it up going forward, since it's going to follow right on. And then I guess they were looking for a little bit more kind of tie back to the original, even though it was mostly tied to the original, but no Gina Davis and stuff like that, and obviously Jeff Goldblum's dead. So I think that's more where the disappointment comes from, and most of the hate comes from in this movie. I don't think they did anything in it really, besides our argument with the directing, that really says that this is a bad movie. So I don't think you should really hate it.
Yeah, I thought it was worthy effort, not too bad.
It doesn't surpass the first one.
Yeah, it's not, and it's very hard to beat the first one, because that was so friggin' innovative. But regardless, it was a worthy effort in my opinion. It might have come out at the wrong time. I think I believe it came out in possibly September. It should have came out a little bit closer to Halloween. Maybe it would have done good or better. But either way, it has a, oh my God, was it a 20 something on Rotten Tomatoes? Something like that. I had it in here somewhere. 27 on Rotten Tomatoes.
I think we should get a list of all the bad anything under like 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, and just you don't hate
like turtles.
Because you don't hate turtles.
But anyway, you definitely don't hate the Fly 2. Here's some fun facts. First of all, Gina Davis, another reason why she didn't come back was the maggot scene, the maggot dream sequence in the first one.
Oh God, it was
very, very nauseating for her, and that was also very disturbing. She did not kind of want to go through that again.
But they didn't do that.
March 2015, a mini series as far as comics was taken out. It was called The Fly Outbreak. And Martin Brundle was pretty much, I guess there's been an outbreak of this, and Martin Brundle's trying to find a cure for all of this stuff that's going on. So
really,
yeah, it's pretty interesting. It looks pretty interesting. I didn't get a chance to read them, but I read some of it, more or less the synopsis of what it is, and wow. it's pretty interesting. So the comic book miniseries, The Fly Outbreak. So try to check that out. There was also plans of a sequel that was going to be
The
just
Fly 3.
No, just Flies. Yeah, it takes place at a picnic.
Was that a joke?
Yes, that was a joke. MPAA was borderline going to give The Fly 2 an X rating because of scenes with the dog, because of scenes with the elevator. It almost got an X rating, even though they still showed a lot of these scenes. There were some more kind of rougher cuts of these scenes that they had to tone down. So it got.
They always release that first version just so they can have the you know, the MPAA come in and says, oh no, you gotta take this. They don't really want all that stuff in there. They just do it just so that way they can keep the stuff they really want to keep. So,
So from Aspen in the back, I'm Manny.
I'm Terrence.
Happy Halloween, and you don't hate The Fly 2.
Exactly. Hi guys, and today's movie that you don't hate?
The Fly 2.
All right.